Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning into the Morning Woodward Show right here at the Woodward Sports Network, featured on the Roar at 93.5 FM, 99.1 FM, and 94.7 HD2. Good morning. We finally have Jeff back in studio with us. Woo! So welcome back, Jeff. We're glad you're better.
I'm happy to be here. I was watching the show over the last couple of days, and you know what? We need someone up here with Adam, barking back at you. That's why I'm here. So,
people were blessed the last 3 days. They got 2 hours of me telling them the truth. But,
yeah,
we don't got to go there.
No, yeah, I feel you.
Listen, I'm just happy you showed up to work not wearing a hat. Thank you. You did everybody justice.
I saw Justin's tweet.
Yeah. When you have hair like that, it is insulting to
it's a crime.
70% of the United States to wear a hat. So.
It's the identity of this morning show, so I'm embracing it.
It's the identity of you.
Hey,
you can't come in looking like a trucker when you have hair like that.
No, I get you. I feel you. Now I got the beard going, so
get it together.
Rocking.
I like the beard, though.
All right,
I'm
boys.
glad you're feeling better.
I want to get into the Red Wings from last night. Couldn't get it done against the St. Louis Blues, losing 6-2 on the road. Did you have thoughts on this game?
Welcome to what the season, again, not the whole season, but what parts of the season are going to look like for the Detroit Red Wings. Young, and when you're young, you're inconsistent, and when you're inconsistent and you're young, there are going to be nights where you just are completely outskated. You have zero involvement in the game, and it takes really 2 moments of, I don't want to say brilliance, but individual performance by Fabry to even get you on the board. I mean, the goals he scored, I could argue should have been saved. Mm-hmm. So that was a rough night for the Wings. But hey, look, Blues are a good team. Not world beaters, but they're a good team. They've got some skaters on there that I think any team would like. And again, the Wings are young. So last night, unfortunate. You never want to see them lose that bad. But hey, it's a young team. I'm not even worried. This is part of a long 82-game season. They'll be fine. They'll be fine. I think, whenever the Wings lose, I just advise every Red Wings fan, just remember, Lucas Raymond, Morty Sider.
Right.
We got some picks coming up. We got a young core. Dylan Larkin. Nedeljkovic looks good in that. We'll be okay. You guys will be okay. Take the ass whoopings now.
And that's the difference between them and the Pistons, because the Pistons were like, we got Cade. And it pretty much ends there. With the Red Wings, I mean, yes, they're 9. They lost the 9th time in 13 games, but they just came off a 5-game winning streak. I mean, the Pistons, we'll get to them in a second, but they've lost 10 straight. So that's another conversation. The Red Wings have shown things, and obviously they didn't have Tyler Bertuzzi. Lucas Raymond leads the team in points. I mean, you're getting a treat watching that man skate every time you watch the Red Wings. So, I mean, yes, they lost to the Blues. They couldn't convert opportunities. The Blues converted their power play opportunities, and you know what? If you're in a game like last night where you give up a hattie, then you know what happens. And they're on the road. I think they're on the road today in Colorado as well. So we'll get more of a measuring size for this team. But, you got to chill out. Especially, they're probably the only franchise. Obviously, the Tigers aren't playing right now. But the franchise that gives us hope. You watch them, and even if they lose, you can walk away from the game and take some things away from it.
They give you hope because of leadership.
Definitely.
And then hope because of on the field. But for them, it's on the ice. But on the field performance. Mm-hmm. You're seeing it. You can see where the team can be in 2-3 years. And with the Pistons, they're 4-20, and we'll get to them in a little bit, but you see Cade, and that kind of helps mask, we're 4-20.
Yeah.
But you know that in the NBA, if you have a superstar player, once he develops and matures, you are a book it 50-win team every single season. So there are things to look forward to. You brought up that they play the Avalanche tonight.
Yep.
You know what's funny? The Avalanche were heavy favorites going into the year, and they've really struggled to get it going. There are nights where they can put up 6, 7, 8, hell, even 10 goals in a single night. And their record is very similar to Detroit's. But this is a team I think we all expected to lift a cup at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So I expect them to get back on track. Tough for the Wings to go from St. Louis, then to Denver, Colorado. Well, here we go. Enjoy this road trip. They're back home against the Islanders, I believe, on Tuesday. Mm-hmm. So they'll have some days off. But If you're asking me what I think is going to happen tonight, it's not going to be pretty. Hopefully the Wings score at least 3 goals, but I see the Avalanche putting in 6, 7.
They're definitely hitting that 5.5.
I really do.
They're hitting that over.
Oh, easily.
Easily.
Yeah. Easiest bet of the night, the over 5.5 as an alternate spread for the Wings tonight. Take it. Alex Westfall, thank me after you bet on it. How about that?
And I think another exciting thing about this Red Wings team is we haven't even seen Vrana back yet. So they're still arguably their best goal scorer. So I cannot wait to see him play with Lucas Raymond. You got Mo Seider. So there's things to look forward to in the future. And although there might be...
It's not a complete team.
No, it's not. Not yet. Not yet.
And that's the key word, yet. And speaking of yet, we've yet to see the Pistons really put together 4 quarters.
I know.
And look, man, against the Wizards, I don't want to bring up the Wizards game all over again. We all saw what happened. But the way they played iso ball the final 2.5 minutes with Jeremy Grant is not how you win in the NBA.
No.
Where is the offensive game plan? And I'm not talking every single possession needs to be orchestrated and played to perfection. No. But if that's your go-to in crunch time, you're relying on an individual that is a number 3 at best on a good team. But what happened in overtime? Cade shined.
Cade showed.
He looked like a star player, and he really did. But more important than that, you realized the difference, and you can see it, guys. You don't need me to tell you. You can see it. There is a clear alpha difference between when Jeremy Grant is taking over late in games and controlling the ball, and the difference between him and Cade Cunningham.
Definitely. He's a ball stopper.
And look, the Pistons, I believe, held the Wizards to 3 points in the final 5.5 minutes. Something along those lines. They went on a 15-3 run at some point late in the fourth quarter. That's what got them in, and that's what pushed it to overtime. But they were pushing their luck the entire game. Again, they came out first half, Jeff, looked really good. And the second half was the same old Pistons. So what do you say to people that are jumping on Dwayne Casey?
It's tough. Well, this is the difference. With Dwayne Casey, he deserves criticism, obviously. And we understand that this is a rebuild. You want to get a high draft pick, especially this year, because you got to pair Cade with somebody. And although I like Sadiq, I don't think he's there yet. And Jeremy Grant, I mean, we could talk about it all day. The opportunities the Pistons will have to eventually deal him to possibly a contender. But the Pistons this year, they're interesting to me because last year they won 20 games. They got the number 1 overall pick. We know that. We kind of gave Dwayne Casey a green pass or a pass. This year, I had the over on 25.5 games. I'm still confident with it. They haven't shown a whole lot to prove to me they can hit 30 games, but I will say this. The sooner they realize that Cade is their closer, and they've realized it to a certain extent. You saw in overtime, they gave up 37 to the Washington Wizards in the third period. Going in overtime, Cade scores like 3 or 4 straight layups, and then you see Jeremy Grant carrying up the ball, isolation. And it's hard because when you know Cade is your best player as a rookie, and the Pistons are starting to realize it, and he needs to be taking all the shots, especially down the stretch. And, I mean, Dwayne Casey, I like him. I'm still a fan of his. I mean, the guy has a track record, but I've been doing some research over the last couple of days while I've been out about Dwayne Casey, and he's interesting, obviously. I think the young team for Dwayne Casey, he's a great player developer. He can develop guys, but he's had veteran teams in Toronto, DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry. He's had veteran guys. Now, I want to see him with these are as young as it gets, rookies, second-year players. I don't know if he's going to be the coach to take this team over the top to the championship, but I do know this. He's a great coach to develop them, and we may very well hire another coach to take us over that hump. But I'm giving Dwayne this season, obviously, and next season I want to give it to him for a period of time. I want to see how he starts next year. He'll get more players. But Dwayne, I wouldn't say he's on the hot seat, but it's warming up at him. And, for a guy like Dwayne Casey, he's not Dan Campbell. He has a resume, so there's that. But last couple seasons have been disappointing. I'm kind of willing to give him the Dan Campbell timeline. Next year, I want to see how they kind of take off. And
I'm willing to completely buy in. Not that I haven't to this project, but if they just deal Jeremy Grant, they would be saving so much time and effort.
Yep.
And really a headache. And look, Jeremy Grant some nights looks really damn good. He really does. And then he looks really damn bad. And when you're a veteran and you're getting paid what he's getting paid, and you're being asked of him, what you're asking of him is to be a 1 you don't need him to be. Stop it. Let it be Cade's team. It was Luka's team when he was a rookie. It was Trey's team when he was a rookie. Give the team to Cade.
Yep.
I understand you're trying to develop team fundamental basketball, but last I checked, Dwayne, you're still trying to figure out your rotations. And last I checked, you rely on iso ball when you need something, when you need a bucket, when you're trying to come back in a game with Jeremy Grant. That's not going to work. So I think they should deal him. What they get for him, I'm curious to see.
Yeah.
I'd like to see some picks. But look, man, they need a 5, and they need a better. They just need their team to get better and develop. Saddiq Bey needs more minutes, but he's playing really bad. So how do you justify giving him more minutes right now?
Right.
There's a lot wrong with this team, and it doesn't mean it's the end of the world. But Saddiq Bey needs to be improving. Killian Hayes, I think, is really given, I want to say, a really good effort.
Yeah, he is.
And he's looked much better these last 2 weeks. Cade's looking like a star. Things are looking good. You just got to build on it and continue.
Yeah.
And look, if I'm the Pistons, I trade Jeremy Grant, but it doesn't look like they plan on doing that.
They need shooting, bottom line. So however they figure it out, it's up to them. But
eventually they'll need shooting. Eventually they'll need to get all the pieces right. But right now they don't. They don't. They're 4-20. And right now, all you care about is that Cade Cunningham continues his development towards being a star player. And what happens when you have a star player? You can attract free agents, and you can build a team around him. Stop it. Stop worrying about Dwayne Casey right now. Stop worrying about Jeremy Grant. Why would you trade him? Trade him. Give it to Cade. It's his team. This team, 3-4 years from now, should be contending in the second round of the playoffs, I believe. I think that's enough.
That's a realistic timeline.
I think that's a good timetable.
Yeah.
So you have until then to get that core team fundamental around him. Till then, Hayes needs to develop, Bey needs to develop, Isaiah Stewart needs to be a little more efficient on the paint and more consistent. Mm-hmm. And if you at least get that fundamental core correct, the rest can be figured out, especially if Cade is a superstar, which I think we can all agree he's on track to be a star.
Yep.
But his ceiling, his potential, it's superstar. They nailed it. They absolutely nailed the pick. So that's my thoughts on the Pistons.
And you're spot on. And one thing I don't want to be as a franchise is you look around the league, there's teams, and the Minnesota Timberwolves will throw them in this category, where you land a top 5, number 1 overall pick multiple years, and you acquire all this talent. Like the Minnesota Timberwolves did. They had Karl Anthony Towns. They had Andrew Wiggins. They had Zach LaVine. Now they have D'Angelo Russell. Still can't win games. Now they have Anthony Edwards. It doesn't matter how many picks you accumulate and grab players. It really depends on, number one, your coach, and how do you develop, how do you build a winning culture? And I think they got the player right. Now we'll see how they can build around it.
Well,
and that's
before we have less than a minute, but so before we go, I think the comment or the point I want to kind of reiterate, maybe just people to understand, is what does Jeremy Grant offer you that everybody, and Anthony is a good friend of mine. He hosts Pistons Talk, and he always tells me no, they shouldn't trade Jeremy Grant. And honestly, Pistons Twitter, I would love to know why not. Why? You're not going anywhere. Let this be Cade's team. Let him be the ball dominant one, and figure it out from there. You nailed on the pick. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
Kid's good. He's really damn good. Kennedy.
All right, you guys. Well, you can see the Pistons in action tonight against the Pelicans. If you want to check that out, Cade will probably have another great game. He's been balling lately. Up next, we will talk about quite an interesting game that happened last night. The Vikings taking on the Steelers. We will get into that next. But first, our friends that are always essential.
Well, we talk about Jeremy Grant moving teams. How about moving careers? Northwestern Tech, you could start a new career in an industry that is always essential. It's the heating and cooling industry. You can learn more today by visiting northwesterntech.edu.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. Did you know mortgage rates are still at generational lows? If you haven't refinanced your home loan yet, there's still time. Now is your second chance to refinance. You could lower your monthly payment, eliminate credit card debt, or even take cash out by using your home's equity. Call Hall Financial now to get started with your free 5-minute mortgage review. 866-CALL-HALL or chat with us online at callhallfirst.com.
It's Adam, Jeff, and Kennedy. Mornings on the Woodward Sports Network.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Morning Woodward Show. You guys know I was pumped about last night's Thursday night football game. What could get better than the two teams that couldn't get it done against the Lions facing each other? Yes, the Steelers and the Vikings played. It was like as ugly as I wanted it to be. The kickers were missing left and right. Big Ben looked 8,000 years old. The Steelers were down by 23. They were shut out in the first half, down 23, and somehow scored 21 in the fourth. I mean, it was just the most wild game. But the Vikings ended up winning 36-28. So Adam's prediction that the Steelers would win yesterday was incorrect. But boys, your thoughts?
Never bet on a 40-year-old bum.
Yeah, you're
who has
an
been
idiot.
Has been for about 3 years.
Yeah.
But having said that, I think there's a really cool story to tell about this game. And I was thinking about this on my way in.
Okay.
The roller coaster of emotions, not only for fans watching the game, but for individual fantasy owners, was unbelievable.
Oh, I know.
Check this out. Dalvin Cook, 11 days after dislocating his shoulder, makes the return. How many people actually benched him? And how many people were ripping their hair out while he was on their bench going for 200 yards and multiple
Confident
touchdowns?
with Madison this week.
Unreal. and then you look at the first half and they're down 23-0. Pittsburgh is. And if you're a fantasy owner, I got Minnesota defense. I'm on cloud nine. I'm probably at 19 points right now. We're sacking the quarterback. They're not moving the ball downfield. Oh my goodness. I picked up Minnesota. I am the smartest person in the room in my fantasy league. And then the second half happens, and they give up 28 points. And Najee Harris fantasy owners in the first half are looking at themselves like, well, I am going to kill myself. I can't believe I'm starting a premier running back, and he has 2 points at halftime. What is happening? Well, I'll tell you what happened in the second half. All the Najee Harris fantasy owners, they went to use the bathroom. They went and made mac and cheese. They went and made hot chocolate. And by the time they came back, the dude had already scored another 2 touchdowns. And you were like, I'm back, baby. I'm back. We're back as Najee Harris fantasy owners. 25 points last night. I thought it was incredibly weird and unbelievable. And if you were desperate at quarterback, I can't believe I'm saying this, and you started Big Ben, in the first half, you had gotten the noose, and you started tying it and getting it ready. The dude literally had negative fantasy points at halftime. And what happens in the second half? He goes for almost 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. And you're like, how?
Ripped my parlay in half.
So if you're the guy that went up against Ben, you're like going through this. Every fantasy owner went through this roller coaster of emotions. Highs and lows. And it was the funniest thing. I couldn't. That was one of the key things I focused on last night was, my goodness, if you started any of these players, oh my goodness, how can I forget about this guy? Justin Jefferson.
Oh, yeah.
All the Justin Jefferson fantasy owners. Oh my goodness, 18 points in the first quarter. 18!
Didn't do anything.
He finished with 20. I went up against him. I was dying laughing. I thought I was going to get mauled.
I went up against Dalvin Cook and got mauled.
Oh, well, rest in
35
peace.
points.
Well, look, to everybody that sat Dalvin, I really feel bad for you. You picked the worst week. This is playoff time. You win this week, you're probably in. Depends on your situation. This is how you get to the playoffs this week. So if you benched Dalvin, it just wasn't your year, man. And you just didn't deserve to go to the playoffs. It's that simple. So that's really what I took away from last night. The Vikings won. Zimmer really needed to win that game. I think we talked about narrative yesterday. So did the Steelers, though. They're now 6-1, and their schedule's not getting any easier from here. So is this the first losing season under Mike Tomlin? Probably. Ben, they need to get a quarterback. You want to talk about a team that may be willing to trade a lot to get a quarterback? Could be Pittsburgh. But knowing their franchise, they're too smart to do that. They'll probably draft one late in the first, early second round and trade up and they'll get their guy, and the Pittsburgh will be just fine, and they'll be back.
I was texting my friend who's a Steelers fan last night during the game, and a lot of them, and I hadn't really heard this, like genuinely think that that's where Rodgers is going to go. Like they think that they're going to go from Big Ben to Aaron Rodgers.
It actually came out after Green Bay played Pittsburgh, and Mike Tomlin and Aaron Rodgers gave each other the "What's up, baby?" You know what I mean?
What's up, baby?
What's up, baby?
Take me out to dinner.
Take me out more than just dinner. But yeah, it was a look. It was the look, when you're ready to give your game out. So look, I don't know how legitimate that is. I don't know why though. Aaron Rodgers would leave Green Bay. And again, I said this really early on. Green Bay needs to rip up Aaron Rodgers' contract. They need to release or trade Jordan Love. Go to Aaron Rodgers, say, we apologize. We messed up. We should not have drafted this kid. One, he's just not any good. And more importantly, two, you still have a lot of years left of football. So, Aaron, here's the most guaranteed money for a quarterback. Here's the most paid contract for a quarterback in the NFL right now. Here you go. We apologize. That's what the Packers should do. You know why? They've got a damn good defense. A.J. Dillon, he's starting to pick it up. He looks like a good running back. Oh, do I have to remind you they have Aaron Jones, Devontae Adams. They'll probably re-sign him if they re-sign Rodgers. So having said all that, Packers are in a good situation. Yeah. And I don't see why Aaron would leave them for Pittsburgh, whose defense can't stop the run.
Yeah, worse than Green Bay right now.
It's not even close. Green Bay actually has a really good defense.
That's what I'm saying.
I think the best defense they've had probably since their Super Bowl run.
Why would you leave for a worse?
So why would you go to a worse situation, a new situation? You're loved in Green Bay. You have an outstanding legacy. And look, I'm all for player mobility, but in Aaron Rodgers' case, you've got Matt LaFleur. Don't tell me you don't trust him. He earned your trust year one. And you guys became one of the best offenses the following year.
Don't forget about the division,
That's a good relationship. The division is not difficult. You go to the AFC North, you got to go through Baltimore. Mm-hmm. I'm not even going to mention Cleveland, but, whatever. Cleveland, right now, they have a good roster at least. And Cincinnati looks good. In Green Bay, you have 2 wins booked basically against the Lions, the Bears, and the Vikings every single year.
Yeah.
Most years. So, yeah, what are you doing? I think that's the move. I don't see Aaron going to Pittsburgh. I really don't, Kennedy.
No, I don't either. I think the Aaron Rodgers, that question's interesting. I cannot wait to see how the offseason plays out with him. I think he'll probably remain in Green Bay. But as of yesterday, that Thursday night game, it was a tale of two halves. The first half, obviously, if you were watching, you almost turned your TV off. They're up 23-0. And I had placed a bet on FanDuel and checked it out. And I usually don't place a lot of these bets, but I will say this. I placed the parlay, and I had Ben Roethlisberger under 254 passing yards. I picked Najee Harris to score a touchdown, and I picked Dalvin Cook to score a touchdown as well. And all those things hit. And over 44.5 points, may I add. And
look, man, it's always the thing that you think is a lock that ends up busting on those parlays.
It is. But you know what? Overall for the game,
Can we acknowledge TikTok is ruining the NFL?
Claypool.
Are we not going to talk about this? Juju Smith-Schuster out for the year. Too busy working on his dances. Chase Claypool can't even hold on to the football because he's too busy holding onto his phone trying to do TikToks on the field. NFL, save the game.
You realize the NFL likes that because they're getting more attention by these NFL players. They're like, I know that guy. He's an NFL player doing a TikTok in my end zone.
It's pretty corny for me.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of it. I think it's... Look, we live in a world of social media where everybody exposes themselves. That's great. But when you are an athlete at the highest level and you literally cannot afford to miss 1 day of training, one lapse in focus. Why? Because there are other people just as talented, if not more talented than you, that are working just as hard, if not more harder than you. And Chase Claypool is a disaster. Last year, bursted onto the scene. Everybody fell in love with him. And he took after Juju Smith-Schuster, TikTok, and now he's either hurt or fumbling or just dropping passes. It's unbelievable.
Did you see
NFL? Do something about TikTok, man.
Did
Nobody
you see
wants
the comments too when they asked him? I think Mike Tomlin should play more music at practice, and he was like talking to the media, Claypool, and they asked Mike Tomlin about it. He goes, "I think he should just stick to playing wide receiver." That's what he.
Yeah,
I'm like, Claypool.
I think you should shut the hell up and work on your game because you're projected to be out of the NFL by the time your contract is over. Nobody wants a guy that can't even hit on a crack block, which is For a wide
It was
receiver,
horrible. You can't give up the inside.
It was 3rd and 1. Najee Harris, you're thinking, all right, they're going to get this. They're overloaded on one side.
Yeah.
Your job was to beat the safety and the corner who does not know what the play is on the inside.
Yep.
And you are somehow late to it. And then you want to sit there and dance in the middle of the field and make a TikTok. And then you fumble, and you're so lucky your shin was down by the slightest of margins.
Yeah.
Or that would have been another fumble turnover. You lucky, you know what. Unreal. Focus on football. That's how you're making your living, not TikTok. Nobody wants to see you dancing in the middle of the field. Trust me, they want to see you going for 100 yards and a touchdown every week.
Yep.
Get your act together.
And you saw the celebration right at the end of, it was like 10 seconds left. And they're moving down the field. Ben completes a pass. He does the, you're like, clock the damn ball.
You were down by 23 at halftime.
Oh, God.
You were down 29-7 or 29-7 at one point, or 36-7 at some point in the game.
Yeah.
Stop. Wake up. You are losing. You are not allowed to celebrate. This pisses me off as much as Roy Williams did back in the days with the Detroit Lions. The Lions would be losing to the Chicago Bears 42-0. And in the fourth quarter, he would catch a first down pass, and he would get up so energetically. What? Just unreal. Adam, they can't be happy. Why can't players be happy?
Yeah.
Losers. Loser mentality. Losers. Get them away from me. Can't work with them. Don't want to see them. Don't want to know them. Lose my phone number. Bunch of losers.
Mike Tomlin's got his hands full with those guys, man.
Unreal.
Yeah.
In that locker room.
All right, well, coming up next, we will cover UFC 269. We don't get to talk about a lot of UFC, but we have some belts on the line here, so we will get into that next, so stick around for that. But first, a place you can go to bet on this. They're probably running a ton of different deals right now. Or not
Absolutely,
deals,
they
you
are.
call
My
them.
bookie, listen, this Saturday, the UFC is closing out 2021, and it is a hell of a card. They're ending it out with a bang, with 2 world title fights going down at UFC 269. Headlined by the light heavyweight championship fight between Charles Oliveira and Dustin Poirier. I mean, you guys want to talk about a toss-up? Me and Jeff are going to pick our picks, and Kennedy as well. After the break, I'm so excited for this fight. But guys, it's my bookie. Bet anywhere, anytime using my bookie. People, if this is your first time betting and you really want to bet on the UFC, don't you dare bet anywhere else except my bookie. You go in there and you take advantage of their offer. Don't you dare waste your money. You want to bet $500? Great. Use code Woodward. They're matching it dollar for dollar. That way, it's basically a $500 risk-free bet that you're putting on. So even if you lose, you're still good. Stop the nonsense. Wake up. My bookie, again, bet from anywhere, anytime using my bookie. Don't miss out on UFC 269. A hell of a card. Sean O'Malley's going to be on there. There's some good fights. Don't miss out, and don't miss out on the free money my bookie is giving away, everybody. All right? We'll see you after the break.
It's that time of the year again. Time for our second annual Stuff a Studio with Woodward Sports. Last year, Metro Detroit came together to help make the largest single toy donation in Mott Children's Hospital history. This year, we make it even bigger. Stuff a Studio is happening December 13th through the 17th at the Woodward Sports Studios in Birmingham. The children in Mott Children's Hospital fight so hard all year. Now it's up to all of us to help bring a smile to their faces. So while you're out holiday shopping, make sure you pick up an extra toy or two and help us spread some love to Metro Detroit this season. We look forward to seeing you December 13th through the 17th as we stuff our studio with Woodward Sports and Myre.
Woodward Sports Network, let's go! Ho, 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 ho!
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Welcome back, everyone. This main card has this entire studio riled up right now, if you would have heard what's happening over the break. But like I said, we've got UFC 269 this Saturday. It will be so good. We will be seeing some faces that we haven't seen since the McGregor fight. What was that? UFC 264? 264, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. when McGregor broke his leg. So we will be seeing Dustin Poirier again, and he will be taking on the lightweight champion Charles Oliveira. We will see Sugar Sean O'Malley again. He was on that last card, who I thought was going to kill Chris Moutinho. Like, literally. Remember, he just kept getting back in his face? And they had to call it. He wouldn't stop.
He's a zombie.
That was insane. That was still, like, to this day, crazy.
That's like the Detroit Lions fans.
If you
Just
ask
getting
Sugar
punched in
Shane,
the
he's
face.
undefeated.
Oh,
He reminds me of Lions fans. If you ask him if you have a chance at going to the playoffs, they'll tell you, yeah, I believe.
I believe.
Yeah, and O'Malley believes he's actually undefeated.
Every year, he thinks he has a chance. That's regardless of his rank, he wants a title.
Look, obviously it's easy to talk about the. I mean, let's all be honest. The main event.
Definitely.
You can't blame me for talking about this, but look, I fell in love with Charles Oliveira's story.
Yeah.
And when he captured the heavyweight championship against the newcomer Michael Chandler, I was so happy that night. I remember I was making the announcement graphic, and I was just like, you know what, man? Like, it's people like that you just want to root for. Slums of Brazil, comes from nothing, 31-8,
most submissions,
so many fights. So many losses in the UFC. I'm not an abundance of losses, but you know what I mean.
Experience.
It's so hard to come back from a loss in the UFC. It doesn't happen often, and the fact that he kept his head down and kept working towards it, and finally, and he didn't just beat Michael Chandler, he dominated him. I was all for it. I was so happy that night. But look, I mean, he's playing. He's fighting a fan favorite.
Unfortunately,
he's fighting a fan favorite in Dustin Poirier, who
Poirier.
Everybody believes, one, should be the champion,
Yep.
and two, deserves to have that belt around his waist. And look, man, it's one of those fights where I think as a UFC fan, maybe a fanatic, your heart's going to get broken unless you're committed one way or the other to one of the fighters. But if Oliveira wins, you're like, man, well, damn, I really want to see Poirier wrap that belt around him. He deserved it. Those counter fights, everything he's given us, he's been so hot as of late. And then if Poirier wins, you're like, man, Oliveira.
Yeah, right.
Short-lived.
Didn't get a chance to extend his legacy. That's exactly what it is. And this card this weekend, I am so excited. I think it's the last pay-per-view of the year, big pay-per-view.
Yep.
And obviously Poirier, unfortunately, should be champion, ran into the Khabib train when he was there, and then Khabib retired, and now he has a chance to take on Charles Oliveira, which he is the favorite. Charles Oliveira, I believe, is plus 135. So for you betting guys, if you believe...
Oliveira's an underdog.
Yeah, he's
he is.
plus 135.
It's unreal.
Yeah,
Poirier's minus
Look,
155.
Look, as an avid bettor,
I'm taking Poirier.
I'm taking the
okay.
Oliveira line because
No.
I'm getting the champ as an underdog. Forget who you want to win or who you think wins.
Right there.
When I get the champ as an underdog, I'm taking the line. Amanda Nunes is minus 900. What the hell you want me to do with that?
She's
what are you
gonna
doing with
murder
that?
She's so damn
Pena.
good. It's not even
She's
fair.
ripped.
She's so good. She's so dominant.
Yeah.
But there's one guy on the card, and I'm curious what Jeff thinks. And we were talking about this during the break. Cody Garbrandt.
Garbrandt, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
His fight against that little weasel who juiced, that little skinny little shit, that I absolutely, if I ever saw in public, would love to take a crack at, even if I was absolutely mauled by him. It's cool. I don't mind.
Just give it a try.
I just want one punch on this guy.
Dillashaw.
The biggest loser, TJ Dillashaw. And you want to talk about like trajectory and career-changing moments? When Garbrandt lost and he was juicing, TJ Dillashaw, was losing and he lost to TJ.
Mm-hmm.
That redefined his career. He never got back to his level. He was supposed to be the champion, be the next guy, face of the UFC. And he lost to some dude juicing. And like I just think it's pathetic.
He had to go down a weight class, to your point. So he's at flyweight now. So
come on. It's unfortunate. That's the one damn shame about just sports in general is the people that do take advantage and manipulate the system. Like what's Cody's career? Is he the fourth fourth fight on the card?
He's not even on the main.
He's not.
He's on the
He's
very
the-
end of the main
he's
card.
the end of
that's
the
what I
main
meant. He's the
card.
fourth fight technically. On the main card. Cody
Yep.
is really. Like you look at it and you're like, well, that's a great card. Sean O'Malley's right below him. But that just shows, what happens, and there's consequences. And the fact that Dillashaw is even allowed to fight after that is beyond me. And he's not like some John Jones draw. It's totally different. He's no John Jones. He's just some little country weasel that I wish I like, you know, if they told me I would get mauled, but I could get one free shot at him, I would absolutely take it. I would.
I don't blame
I
you.
would gladly lose both my arms to get one shot at that weasel, because when you juice in fighting, that is attempted murder.
Mm-hmm.
When you are juicing and getting not only an advantage in the fight, but you become stronger and you take damage more easily, which means your opponent, who's exhausting himself trying to beat you, can't beat you. And he gets tired, and then you take advantage and you maul him. I'm not a fan of it, especially in fighting. Look, you want to cheat in steroids in baseball, whatever. It's a baseball. We're not talking about breaking somebody's face in.
Right.
So whenever I see Cody Garbrandt on a card, I just immediately think of that weasel.
Yeah.
And just gets me pissed off.
And you're not wrong. Sean O'Malley, I watched the press conference yesterday, and he was actually, he's been talking trash all week to Cody Garbrandt, how he's more of a draw on this card, even though he's unranked, and Cody has this resume. And it's funny when the young guys talk, trash to Cody, because he gets so heated. But I'm so excited for this, especially because in the UFC especially, Dustin Poirier, it's been a long time coming. He chose to fight Conor. He chose the money fights, and he's finally getting taken care of financially from the UFC, and now he has an opportunity. And what I'm worried about is, if he loses this fight, when is his next opportunity? And I believe, if he gets another fight or two, he's right back in the conversation. But Dustin Poirier...
When's he fighting next, though? March? February?
Right. And this is a big opportunity for him. Charles Oliveira has been on a tear, and you saw it. He looked vulnerable against Chandler. He got knocked down, essentially. And Chandler started just pounding him out, and then he gets up, finishes Chandler, and the rest is history. So that's really the draw. Amanda Nunes... I'm sorry, Juliana Pena, you're getting destroyed. Minus 1,000. Everyone gets... It's basically who's Amanda Nunes beating next. That's essentially the conversation. And then Oliveira and Dustin Poirier cannot wait. Sean O'Malley is one of my favorite fighters, so this card to me is the most draw. Obviously, the Kamaru Usman one was probably the biggest fight of the year, but this one, I think, has a chance to top it. So even if you're not a UFC fan and you're just a fan of either betting or whatever the case may be, you got to get involved on this card, because there are some guys, especially, Adam mentioned it, the Oliveira underdog. You got Sean O'Malley at a heavy favorite. So if there's some opportunities, you might have an upset. And it's UFC. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. Even if Adam swings on TJ Dillashaw, he has a chance. All right? It's a very small chance.
I have zero chance against any professional fighter. I will openly admit this. They would beat my face in. So I fear the day that there is a professional UFC fighter that is an extreme Detroit Lions fan, because my life will be in danger. I promise you that. The day there is a professional UFC fighter that is an avid, lifelong Lions fan, I want you guys to prepare my casket.
Yeah. And I love the Sean O'Malley Detroit Lions comparison, because I never really thought about it, but the more I think about it, it kind of does make sense.
It's his look.
It kind of does make sense.
But for him, it makes sense for him to do it. People know him. They know who he is. He's getting his name up there. He's supposedly Dana's golden boy, the next one, the next Conor.
Right.
And he needs to win fights now. And he hasn't fought in anyone, man. Honestly.
No, he hasn't.
And this isn't even a real fight. I'm sorry. It's
his first ranked opponent, 15th ranked. So it's like...
but he's a minus 310 favorite, and I feel like they're totally overvaluing him.
Probably. Honestly.
So that's where I'm at with Sugar Shane. Great name, great nickname.
He's
great
the
draw.
most annoying, one of the most annoying fighters.
It's a great draw for the UFC. I don't mind it. It's his character. I'm all for it. Look at Make America Great Again himself.
Colby Covington.
Colby Covington turned around his career.
He did. He saved his career.
Because of his character.
Yeah.
He was going to be released from the UFC after his fight. I forget who it was against, but he won the fight. He won in a top 5 weight class fight.
They just thought he was boring.
And they just said, you know what, man, you're boring. And he's like, you know what? I'm changing it around. I need a character. And he developed a great character that got him mega fights, that got him paid. And, that's what you need in the UFC. You can't just be dominant and good. The humble George St. Pierre, that kind of fighter, in today's world, unless you're really good...
Right.
It's really tough. You need to have character. Adesanya. Character. Even though he's extremely talented, really good fighter, he has character. Amanda Nunes, does she have character? She's not hateable, but she's just so dominant.
Straight murderer.
That you have to.
She's horrifying.
She is horrifying. I would never, if I ever dated Amanda Nunes, I would be scared to answer a phone call from my own mother.
If she told you to give her a foot rub, you're on your knees.
I would be.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Say less.
Oh, you didn't like the steak? I'm sorry.
I'll throw
sorry.
it. It's bad
I'll
anyway.
go pick up P.F. Chang's. I'm sorry.
That's how it is.
I would look. No, she's probably not mean. I'm just joking.
Definitely not.
Like, the perception is you would live in fear. 'Cause, like,
Right.
if I cook your
Right.
steak medium and she wanted it rare, I'm getting put in a chokehold probably. So, look, man, that's the reality.
That is real.
Probably totally over exaggerating right now, but you guys get the point.
The moral of the story. This card.
The moral of the story is, be careful.
Yeah, be careful.
Be careful with these
And
ladies
this
that
applies
fight.
to women dating UFC fighters. If they show any sign of aggression, get the hell out of that relationship. If you walk in and he comes home from the gym and hey Jessica, what are we doing for dinner tonight, baby? And you say, I didn't have time to make dinner. I picked up Chick-fil-A. And he flips the table or punches the wall. Get the hell out of the house. All right, it's not a good sign.
If you hear a bell ring out of nowhere and the round's about to start,
If he's
run.
asleep,
You get the hell
if he's
out.
asleep and he wakes up in the middle of the night and just is fighting in his dreams, leave. All right? You don't want to get knocked out while you're sleeping.
This is true.
All right.
This is
I
very
love the
true.
advice.
Well,
Over dramatic Friday. Sorry. Excuse
over
me.
dramatic Friday. Well, I think we can all agree Juliana Pena is going to have to play some pretty sick defense to go up against Nunes. And you know who else has sick defense? Our friends at Guardian Alarm.
Yeah, the only defense that can even defend against Amanda Nunes is Guardian Alarm. And they get it. Good defense on and off the field helps you feel secure. And Guardian Alarm has state-of-the-art technology that helps you feel safe, all with 24/7 local monitoring. Guardian Alarm also has convenient features that let you check in on your home, control lights and temperatures, or even detect smoke or carbon monoxide. Call 800-STAY-OUT today. That's 800-STAY-OUT. Guardian Alarm has been trusted for over 90 years at keeping families safe.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We are recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand.
Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10.5 months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
Hire a graduate
Of Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Putting on a show here, and that's how you answer. We love our sports. We just wish they'd love us back. Detroit sports for Detroit sports fans. Woodward Sports.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Morning Woodward Show. We've got to get into some Lions talk before they take on the Broncos this Sunday. They had 22 players out yesterday for practice. So this could get really ugly really fast. Goff was out this week with an illness. I think he was back yesterday, but he was out Wednesday. Let's see, DeAndre Swift obviously out with a shoulder, Rashad Berry, Michael Brockers, Austin Bryant, Taylor Decker, Charles Harris, TJ Hawkinson, Will Holden, Jonah Jackson, Jamar Jefferson, Tommy Kramer, McNeil. The list goes on. It's a very, very long list of names that did not practice either Wednesday or Thursday of this week. You guys, what does this mean for the Lions going into this weekend? I mean, the flu bug has officially hit this locker room.
With a team that's won 10-1 and 0-5-1 on the road, they haven't won on the road, and now they're going to Denver, Mile High. And listen, this team is so bad that the margin of error is very small. And if you lose the players they're losing, and they have TJ Hawkinson questionable, DeAndre Swift clearly still questionable, Levi questionable, tons of guys questionable, either due to sickness or injury, their margin of error is very small. And I don't know if missing all of those guys, because listen, we have the most 1 through 7 rookies playing through the rounds. They're all playing, and you have a couple of them questionable. I'm a little bit worried. And listen, I did say weeks ago that they'd have a chance to beat the Broncos. I did say healthy. Obviously, I didn't think they'd lose half the roster. It doesn't help their chances, but I'm not really concerned so much so about the health of the roster. I'm trying to see how this team responds after a win. And that was last week. Obviously, you're going to miss a majority of your players, but I want to see how they go into this game against a struggling Denver Broncos team on the road. I want to see what's being shown, and that's important because we haven't really been shown much until the last week, and obviously they drive down the field. Dan Campbell still has some rather bonehead decisions. I want to see how not only the decision-making transitions to this game, because you want him to improve on that, but how, in general, the play calling, defensively, offensively. I'm just looking at how they're playing schematically. I mean, that's really my concern because the talent will be there eventually. I'm not concerned. I mean, either coming back due to injury or adding more talent next year. I want to see how this team improves schematically on both sides of the ball because defensively, they've shown a whole lot. Obviously, Aaron Glenn had that big mistake where Dan had to take double time out, didn't have the right personnel in, but overall, there are a lot of positive things. So looking into this game, I'm not concerned about who's going to win or lose. The Lions will probably lose this game. I think it'll be close, but I'm looking at how they do schematically and how Dan Campbell just calls a game, and this will be another game of him being the play caller, and you want to see him improve in that area and just see how the coaching staff performs. That's what I'm looking at. I mean, I could give two rats about who's out, who's in, because at the end of the day, I want the Lions to achieve a number one overall pick. So schematically.
Before I talk about the game, I kind of want to take it a little different direction. Because Demaryius Thomas passed away last night, and it looks like he had a seizure. 33 years old. So I don't think there's anything I can say, one, that makes anybody feel any better about this. But what I'd like to see and what I'd like all of you to do is kind of take this into perspective. He's 33. I don't know how old all of you are in the chat are, but if you haven't done anything you've wanted to do with your life, or if you're not happy and you know there's a way you can change it, but you're just not sure if you want to make that step, go do it, man. Life is too short. And life is extremely precious. Life is too precious for you to go a single day without calling your mom or dad if you're still lucky enough to even do that. Life is too short for you to live a life that just doesn't make you happy. And when stuff like this happens, it really gets me. Not because I feel this distraught and pain that he passed away. No, he's not my family member. I have zero emotional attachment. But it really gets me because I try to put my life into perspective as often as possible. And when things like this happen, I really think twice before I complain about a single thing. 33. No, he was a millionaire. He had 33. How are those millions doing? Life is really short, guys. Figure out what you want to be doing and do it. Figure out what you care about and give it all your attention. Figure out what you love and give it all your love and attention. Figure that out. Mm-hmm. Don't waste time. But having said that, the Lions, look, the Lions I don't think are going to show up to Denver with no players. All right, let's just eliminate that. I don't think they're just going to show up with 10, 15 practice squad guys. I think they're going to be available by the time the game starts. Now, whether the sickness affects their gameplay, I don't really care too much. This is a tricky game, and it's going to be an emotional Denver stadium. Mailbag Stadium is going to be extremely emotional. I'm sure there's going to be a tribute for Demaryius Thomas and a moment of silence. And there are players and people in the front office that have played with him. Let's not forget the Super Bowl he helped deliver. The memorable Tim Tebow playoff catch. Overtime, Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. Tim Tebow himself. Kennedy, I know you like that one. And it's a tricky game because I think Javonte Williams is one of the most underrated running backs in the NFL right now. He's unbelievably smart in the way he carries himself.
He's impossible to tackle, too.
Very, very low center of gravity, strong core strength, tough to bring down, fast, agile. Look, it's going to be a difficult matchup. Any game the Lions play this year, you're not going to really sit there and say, wow, they're going to win by 20. No, it's going to be a tough game. I think where it gets tricky now is who's going to be available and who isn't. Who's actually really sick and who was just in contact. And you're not really going to know that till what, Saturday night, Sunday morning? And I think that's tricky.
Yeah. I mean, Dan Campbell did admit that he was kind of like taking practice in chunks by like groups. So like special teams was just together, and that he was trying to keep everyone separate to like kind of stop the spread. So I know Wednesday, I don't think Goff was necessarily like down bad or anything, but he was trying to make sure everyone, starters especially, had like one day off to like, if they felt bad, like nip it immediately. So I think the list looks worse than it is just because Campbell was trying to like slow whatever bug was happening in the locker room.
And you know what, around the league, there's been a lot of these instances where bugs are breaking out in the locker room, and, you know, the Lions, their number one concern is just getting healthy. I'm not really, you know, listen, it's going to be very emotional in Denver this weekend, and listen, the Lions are going to have everything going against them. They're going to have to defeat the Broncos in Denver on a day that they're probably going to play the tribute. It's going to be very emotional, and my prayers are with Demaryius Thomas's family definitely at this time, and all the guys he's played with, because I watched him just a year or two ago on the Patriots. I mean, it's just crazy to see how things change so quickly. But the Lions, man, just go out there and be competitive. That's what I'm asking. I mean, listen, you're going to have a lot of guys arguably out. Levi just had a great game last week, and now he's questionable. So I'm not really going to have any expectations. If I had to really put a prediction on it, since it is Friday, we're going to have to give out these predictions. I'll say Denver wins. I'll say 2013. I'll say that. I'll say they lose by a touchdown.
We'll save the full game predictions, and, you know, we'll dive into this later. Around 9:22, we're going to talk really about the game, our expectations, what we think the game plan will be, how the Lions suit up against Denver, good and bad. Mm-hmm. What advantages do they have? Where are their disadvantages? And it's going to be tough given the flu situation. You don't know who's going to be available, but taking all things into consideration, that'll be fun. But we do need to head to break. When we get back, though, Kenneth Walker yesterday was generously awarded multiple awards. Mm-hmm. And
he's not.
I was just sitting there, and I was like, oh, they got it right. But he finished sixth in the Heisman voting? What the hell are we doing?
What are they smoking?
I cannot wait to talk about this after the break.
All right.
All right, you guys, that means I get to tell you about Woodward Sports' second annual Stuff a Studio. Last year, Woodward Sports donated over $70,000 in toys to the Mott Children's Hospital in Ann Arbor, making it the largest donation in Mott history. This year, we are doing it again, teaming up with Myre, our great partners, and the power of our supporters to stuff the studio full of toys. You can drop off a toy anytime between December 13th and 17th from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. at the Woodward Sports Studio. If you are a local business, we will give you a shout out or donate online at woodwardsports.com. All right, we will see you after the break.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin! Spin! Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
Your Detroit alternative to the normal sports blah, blah, blah. It's Woodward Sports.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks so much for hanging out with us right here on the Morning Woodward Show. Kenneth Walker III has made history as the first player to win the Walter Camp Award while not being a Heisman finalist. I think it's very important to note that the Heisman is voted on by media members and the Walter Camp Award is voted on by actual coaches. I'm just saying.
So you mean there is a potential bias in the media? Oh my
God,
goodness.
I would never say that about our fellow media members.
Driving a narrative that they want to drive, that they see as best fit for their business. What a joke. Look, Bryce Young deserves the Heisman this year. He earned it. Having said that, I lost all respect for this award.
Yeah, definitely. And I picked Bryce Young, and I agree with you.
Bryce Young totally deserves to walk away. Kenneth Walker should be voted into the top 3.
Mm-hmm.
And Aiden Hutchinson also deserves it, considering the tail end of his season. But the fact that he's not even there, won't be in New York, and he was voted by the coaches as the player of the year and also the running back of the year.
Yep.
Generously awarded last night. And all I could see on my Twitter feed was the sarcasm from, of course, deservedly so, Michigan State fans. Like, how does this make any sense?
Right.
How is he racking up all these awards and he's not going to New York?
Can we watch the video?
You like that video?
I
don't
love
you?
the video.
All right, Alex,
Mel
can we
Tucker is so awesome.
Yeah, can we please play the Mel Tucker soundbite with Kenneth Walker?
Football tonight at 7 p.m. But we wanted to share this with you first as a team. Quit cheating, man. Quit looking at my paper. All right. Okay, so for the first time in school history, Ken will be named the winner of the Dope Walker Award. That award is given to the nation's top running back. All right. And then also, for just the ninth time in Big Ten history and the first time in the history of Michigan State football, 125 years, we just found out that Ken will be named the National Player of the Year by the Walter Camp Football Foundation. I want to read you just some names off of the people who have won the Walter Camp Player of the Year. Herschel Walker, Bo Jackson, Barry Sanders, Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota, Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, Tua, Joe Burrow, Devontae Smith, and now 2021, Ken Walker. So I think it was after the Northwestern game when he exploded on the scene. We already knew what he was, right? Especially UX, right? Because on defense, y'all couldn't lay a hand on the guy. But we already knew. Yeah, okay. But we already knew. But here's the scene after the game. After the game, he comes up to me and says, "Hey, thanks, Coach, for taking a chance on me." I'm like, "What? Taking a chance on you? You know, thanks for taking a chance on us, or whatever." So that's just the type of guy he is: humble, hardworking, and we would just really appreciate what you've done for us, what you've done for the team, university, all the Spartan fans here and throughout the world. We got 500,000+ living alumni. And you've really done a lot for us, so I want to thank you and appreciate you. Appreciate you. Yeah, appreciate you. Thank you so
much. Well, there you have it, you guys. I love that video. You can just see, like, Kenneth Walker's trying to be, like, really chill about it and, like, kind of, you know, a little embarrassed. But he deserves it. And so I'm really glad that the coaches got it right. But, Adam, I kind of want you to go off here.
Yeah.
On these media members.
How naive do you have to be to not recognize that he was one of, not the most, but one of the most outstanding players in college football this year.
Important, I might add, too. I would add that as well.
I mean, if you bring in the value, it just beyond solidifies the argument. But no, just as an individual player, he was one of the most outstanding players in college football this year. Mm-hmm. And we fail to recognize it as the Heisman Committee. Shame on you guys. Shame on you. You should absolutely lose your vote. Again, look, all the Ohio State and Pittsburgh fans, you want to pull hairs on whether Stroud or Pickett should have gotten in or that they deserve to get in? Fine. But don't sit there and argue with me and try to tell me that Kenneth Walker didn't deserve the invite over everybody on that list outside of Bryce Young, which is who he should lose the Heisman to.
Mm-hmm.
He was the Heisman frontrunner for almost 8 weeks. In the most important game of the year against Michigan, he ran for almost 200 yards, and he carried them to victory.
On Aiden Hutchinson.
Against one of the, let's say, the better defenses in the college football.
Yeah.
And the eventual Big Ten champs who went 11-1 and only lost to who? Kenneth Walker and Michigan State. Ain't that funny? C.J. Stroud went, what, 10-2? Kenny Pickett. Oh, but we're going to hold Kenneth Walker accountable for 2 losses, right? Is that what we're doing, committee? There's no logic for them not to have Kenneth Walker in that vote. I'm sorry. He should be in New York. Whether he should win it, we can have a fun debate about it, even though I think we can all agree Bryce Young is probably going to win the award. But the fact that you invited 2 other quarterbacks over the most outstanding running back in the country and voted by his peers as the best player in college football, shame on you. Shame on you.
Yep.
Last night was an embarrassment. I would have preferred Kenneth Walker only being awarded running back of the year and not awarded the Walter Camp Player of the Year award. Why? I don't know. Why would you want that? It disgusts me that there are competent people who awarded him correctly, and there are a bunch of idiots that are allowed to vote on one of the most prestigious awards given out every single year in all of sports. And that's what they do to that award. That's the reputation they've given it. When is the last time the most outstanding player in college football, awarded by coaches, was not a Heisman finalist? Kennedy?
Never.
Doesn't
Until
add
right
up.
now.
Shame on you guys. And shame on you for wanting to drive home this narrative about C.J. Stroud, Kenny Pickett, the fake slide. I've never seen it before. Oh my God. We should vote him in. You losers. Shame on you. You don't deserve a vote. That is so irresponsible. And it's actually funny. The committee, if I remember, I saw a Sports Illustrated tweet. They banned the fake slide. I believe it's already done.
They did, yep.
So your Heisman moment for Kenny Pickett is
illegal.
And illegal. And you're going to tell me that Kenneth Walker didn't deserve to be over him and C.J. Stroud? Shame on all of you. Shame on all of you voters. I mean, I am beyond disgusted. He finished 6th in the Heisman. Not 5th. He wasn't just out. No. They found 5 players that they voted better than Kenneth Walker. Shame on you. Shame that you have the fact that you even have a media credential. Shame on you for even having a vote. And this is coming from, I'm not even a Spartan alumni. This is so bad for the sport. And I said it earlier, I was kind of disappointed that he won both awards because it just drives home how stupid they are. But you know what? Kind of thinking about it, I'm glad. Because he deserved to win those kind of awards. He was that damn good of a player. Mm-hmm. And he absolutely earned it. And for every Heisman voter that shamefully didn't vote Kenneth Walker and did not persistently I don't want to say act biased towards him, but if they did not consistently and vehemently advocate for Kenneth Walker to be in New York at least, shame on you. And you should really reconsider what you consider as, quote unquote, the most outstanding player in the nation. Because last I checked, what Kenneth Walker did this year was one of the most outstanding things I had seen in college football in recent memory. So before you guys want to tell me that he didn't deserve to be there, check yourself and your ego at the front door and your biases. And don't tell me that C.J. Stroud and Kenny Pickett deserve to be in New York over Kenneth Walker.
I'd never thought about the 10-2 record thing until you just brought it up. And I'm more frustrated now, I think. Because 10-2 for Ohio State, it's a bad season for us. Genuinely, it sounds crazy. 10-2 is a bad season for Ohio State. That is not the expectation. The expectation for Michigan State going into this season was what? 5-6 wins?
Barely. If they won 6 games this year,
it would have been a good
season.
season.
Every MSU fan, they would have said, that's improvement. That's kind of like what we expected. A bowl game would have been a slight overachievement for them. Because they were like, all right, to rebuild, let's be patient. They get 10-2 year 2. Stop it. Check your biases towards the SEC at the door. Check it. Check your biases towards quarterbacks at the door. Because 2 of those players that were invited to New York were not more outstanding than Kenneth Walker this year. And if you, and any one of you in the media, think that he wasn't deserving of going to New York, shame on you. And I would really ask you to reconsider your evaluation process on what you think an outstanding player looks like.
Definitely.
Because you've done the award an injustice, and you've done all the players an injustice. Because we can all agree Bryce Young will win the award.
Mm-hmm.
But CJ Stroud? Why?
I don't get that.
Why? He didn't make the title game. At least Kenny Pickett did. I could make that argument.
He's got 3 first-round picks at wide receiver as well.
Why is that?
So,
and the guy that plays with one of the worst offensive lines in the nation finds a way to put together an outstanding season. Is recognized, again, by his peers, but you fail to recognize him. Shame on you. You shouldn't have a vote. What a discredit to the Heisman that is. What a discredit.
No, it's incredibly disappointing. And I want to add this as well. I mean, I want to add the Kenneth Walker against Ohio State. Listen, that game was over in the first quarter, and it wasn't Kenneth Walker's fault. It was the secondary of Michigan State, and we knew that going into the game that they would struggle, and they did. Obviously, Ohio State dominantly won that. And listen, you got 3 first-round picks at wide receiver. You have Travion Henderson, who's probably going to be a first-round, if not early second-round pick. CJ Stroud has talent around him, and that's the problem I have. Is if you look at this whole race entirely, I mean, we got Aiden Hutchinson, Kenny Pickett, obviously Bryce Young. Those 3 don't really have too much of an issue with. It's the fact that Kenneth Walker is behind, yes, Will Anderson, who leads all college football in sacks. He's number 1 at 15.5, which is impressive. He deserves to be in the conversation. But you can't tell me that Will Anderson had more of an impact on winning football games than Kenneth Walker did for Michigan State, and what he did against Michigan, all 5 touchdowns against another top 3 Heisman candidate, Aiden Hutchinson. It just doesn't add up to me. Mm-hmm. And I think, and I like to think I'm pretty good at math, and I like to look at all these awards, and the Doak Walker Award, the Walter Camp Player of the Year Award, the Big Ten Running Back of the Year Award, First Team All Big Ten, First Team All American, and a Maxwell Finalist Award. So you're telling me he won all 5 of those awards, and he's a finalist in one of them. And he's not even a finalist in the Heisman. It's despicable. It's disrespectful, I might add, to a guy who's put in the work and has the stats to be there. But I guess the voters, they like to just always ruin the award. And they like to, I honestly sit here and I hope Kenneth Walker against Pittsburgh puts up $150, 200 on him and shows them why the Heisman community is honestly at times a bunch of idiots, and this shows. I don't understand him at 6. I don't at all. I mean, this is a guy who's stacked up on national awards, and you're not going to show him the respect he deserves. Because to me, the Heisman Trophy is about the most important player on their team, and the fact that Kenneth Walker is behind Will Anderson and Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud, I mean, it's despicable to me. Considering how Ohio State, with those weapons, you bring in, I'm not saying C.J. Stroud isn't all that. He's a great quarterback, especially as a freshman. But if you bring in another quarterback, I'm sure they have similar results. 2 losses, I mean, you can't argue that. And it just kind of shows how ridiculous this process is. And I don't understand it. I mean, 1,700 yards, 18 touchdowns, almost 6.5 yards a clip per carry. And you go to a 10-2 season, you're not a finalist. I don't want no part in it. I don't get it. So that's my take on it. Honestly, there's not really much to talk about other than the disrespect. And I mean, if you're a college football fan, Michigan fan, you have to admit the fact that Kenneth Walker deserves to be in your top 5. I mean, that's you could take CJ over him if you want, but the fact that you have him in there, it doesn't make any sense to me. So that's what I think about it.
Well,
share Adam's opinion.
Of awards, we gave out some awards, and they went to Braylon Edwards and Ryan Armani when they won our company bowling tournament. I know, boo. Imagine that. The NFL player wins our Foaling event. But anyway, Jeff, will you go ahead and tell us about the Foaling Warehouse?
Yes, Foaling is a great opportunity for you. It's in Hamtramck, of course, and it's the home of the original football bowling pin game, called Foaling, of course. And you can host your own corporate party, team building event, or just come in with your family and friends. 2 ways to play: your $10 unlimited open play or a private lane reservation for $120 for up to 10 people for 2 hours. We have over 100 beers, our $2 mystery beer machine, and multiple full bars. You bring the food or have it delivered in, whatever you prefer. Whether it's your company, your friends, come over, have fun. Come get your full on. Come check out FoalingWarehouse.com.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. One mortgage myth we hear all the time is having to choose between a 15 or a 30-year fixed term. At Hall Financial, we offer the modern mortgage to create a flexible term that fits your unique financial situation. Our team of mortgage experts are available 7 days a week to review your goals and customize a solution for you. Get started today with a free 5-minute mortgage review at 866-CALL-HALL or chat with us online at callhallfirst.com.
Follow us everywhere. Just search Woodward Sports on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, IG, and more.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Morning Woodward Show, featured on the Roar 93.5 FM, 99.1 FM, and 94.7 HD2. Jeff and I are going to go around the league, cover all of the games that you can go ahead and watch this Sunday. Jeff, I want to start with the Falcons and the Panthers. Who you got?
Well, this is an interesting matchup, obviously. Cam Newton, coming off the game he had, a horrible game, and actually got Joe Brady fired. Disagreements with Matt Rule and Joe Brady. And now this week you're facing at home in Carolina. You're facing a Falcons team who's coming off a loss to the Buccaneers. They still don't have Calvin Ridley. This is a good opportunity for the Carolina Panthers to kind of get back on track, in my opinion. Cam Newton, they don't have Christian McCaffrey. Obviously, he's out for the season. Chuba Hubbard, and to me, I think this is a game Cam Newton can strive in. I mean, you're in Carolina. You can do all the Superman celebrations you want. And I think this is kind of a breath of fresh air. You got rid of your offensive coordinator. Obviously, it wasn't working out. That's why you got rid of him. And we'll see this week if they can really take the opportunity to get a win. Because the Carolina Panthers, to me, very disappointing this season. And this is a divisional matchup. They have to win. They have to take care of business. And to be honest, the Carolina Panthers to start the season, I was a big fan of them with Sam Darnold. And just to see how they are right now, now you have Cam Newton, no Christian McCaffrey. This is a winnable game. If I had to guess a score, I wouldn't go too high on it. Honestly, I could see this ending 20-16, 21-16, whatever the case may be. But I got the Carolina Panthers winning. I think it's a close game. Not a whole lot of offense, of course. Two quarterbacks that you have questions about from game to game. But I think they'll put up points somewhere. I'll say 24-17, 20-16, somewhere in that ballpark.
Yeah, I think you nailed that one. Another game that I think is going to be close is the Ravens taking on the Browns.
Oh, this is a big one. Big divisional game. Obviously, the Ravens coming off the game they had against the Pittsburgh Steelers. They had to win the game. And Lamar Jackson, I'm a huge fan of his. I picked him to win MVP, of course. I mean, I went on record to say it weeks ago before the 4-interception game. And now you're going to Cleveland. You're traveling to Cleveland. You're 8-4. We all like to give John Harbaugh credit for going for it late in the game. He trusts his players. Wanted to win the game. Didn't go well. Now you're 8-4. And now you have an opportunity to go to Cleveland and to either go 9-4 or drop to 8-5. In this division, you have to win because the Bengals are catching up. The Pittsburgh Steelers just lost, of course. I don't think the Steelers are anybody's concern, but this is a big game. And Baker Mayfield still trying to get healthy, and they're trying to get Kareem Hunt back and Nick Chubb back. This is a big game also for the Browns, and really to dictate their season and how they're going to end their season because they're 6-6. They have a chance to go above 500, or they can start losing games and have a disappointing season. So it's a big narrative game for both these teams. If I had to pick one, I would honestly bet on the Baltimore Ravens bouncing back, going to 9-4, just because I have faith in Lamar, my pick for MVP, and I like John Harbaugh as a coach. Although I do like Kevin Stefanski, I just think Baker. So many questions still about him as well, and just how they've looked the last couple weeks. isn't encouraging for the Browns. So I got the Ravens winning this game. I'm curious to see what people think in the comments, but I got the Ravens winning. I'll say 27-21. I think it's a one-score game as well, but I just think the Baltimore Ravens have way more. The Browns have way more to lose, but the Ravens know what they're playing for, and they're trying to go to the playoff. They're trying to make noise. So I think they get the job done this week against the Browns. That's my prediction.
I'm with you there. Bring in Case Keenum, Browns, if you really want to win. You won't. Next, we've got the Raiders taking on the Chiefs. Jeff, what do I do about Patrick Mahomes being my fantasy quarterback? This is just... It's just not good for me anymore.
Well, we know Patrick Mahomes a couple weeks ago against the Raiders dropped 51 points on him, and he had 4 touchdowns. So defensively, it's a great matchup for the Chiefs to get the job done and push the Raiders to 6-7 and just kind of smother them out of the division. But I think, in my opinion, listen, the Chiefs, I don't know if they're back. They still struggle offensively, but the Raiders defensively haven't shown the ability to stop really anybody. I mean, last week is an anomaly for me. They gave up 50 to the Chiefs, and if they're playing good offensive teams, they seem to struggle. So, you know what? The Chiefs, to me, I think they win another decisive victory. I don't think it's going to be 51 points like they did previously, but I think they put up at least 25, 30 plus on them. And the Raiders, man, I mean, I like Derek Carr, big fan of his, but the Raiders are in for an ass whooping. So I think the game ends, I'll say 28-10. That's my prediction. 28-10, or I'll give them 14 to 17 points. But if that's the case, the Chiefs are getting 30 plus. So give me the Chiefs by 2 touchdowns at least in this game.
I like it. I hope you're right. As a Patrick Mahomes fantasy owner, I really hope you are right. All right, another matchup that I think is going to be a tight one. The 49ers taking on the Bengals.
Yeah, definitely one of my favorite matchups of the weekend. 2 teams, great teams. And we talk about the Minnesota Vikings and their record and how they're much, much better than their record shows. That same argument can be made for San Francisco, and they're 6-6. They're trying to make some noise in the AFC West. Obviously, the Rams struggling, just got to win. They've beat the Rams head-to-head, of course. In Arizona, they still got to go through. But I think the 49ers are interesting because I still believe in them. And I think they're going to Cincinnati against the 7-5 Bengals, a team that, narrative-wise, can't lose. We know the Bengals want to win this game, but I like the 49ers, and I like how the 49ers have been playing the last couple weeks. They've shown to me that they not only have competed in every one of their games, but they've stole some games away from good teams. And we know they obviously the Seattle, they won their last game, but it doesn't matter to me. I think the 49ers, to me, are still showing great things, and defensively they're still there. The secondary is a little shaky, of course, but I think they're going to do a good job getting after Joe Burrow. And I think the 49ers, I got a lot of road teams winning. I've been picking a lot of road teams, but I think the 49ers win this on the road. Go to 7-6. The Bengals go to 7-6, and it just makes the playoff race that much more interesting. I think the 49ers win. I'll say 28-25. I think it's a close one. The Bengals put up points, but I think the 49ers win at a last-second field goal. They get it done.
All right, 2 teams that I like, but I don't know how this game's going to go. The Bills taking on the Bucs.
Ooh, well, this is definitely, throw everything I just said out the window. I mean, if you're talking about matchup of the weekend, 49ers and the Bengals at home, and then you have the Buffalo coming off a loss, an embarrassing loss, if you might add. I mean, Mac Jones attempted, 2 passes, and they were able to pull out a victory.
3, but 2 completed, yes.
3. It was absolutely ridiculous. And the Bills this week, they know they need to win, and they're going to Tampa. They're in the nice weather, no 50-mile-per-hour winds. Josh Allen's going to be able to sling it. And I'm interested to really see how the Buffalo Bills bounce back. And if you're looking at who has more to lose, it's clearly the Bills. They have to win this game. They can't go to 7-6. They can't. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers can afford to fall to 9-4. I'm not worried about them. Super Bowl champs. They'll be back in the conversation. But the Bills need to win. And we've seen it. You watch the Tampa Bay Buccaneers games. Secondary's been struggling, of course. This is a good matchup for the Buffalo Bills. They like to throw the ball. Tampa Bay struggled a little bit in the secondary over the last couple weeks. So we'll see. This is going to be interesting. I'll definitely pick Buffalo to win on the road just because of narrative. They need to win this game, and they have more to lose. So I think the Buffalo Bills, they jump to 8-5. I think they win. It's probably, I don't know, I think could be a shootout, to be honest. This game could easily be 35-31, 38-35 type fashion. But I got the Bills winning. Pick your score. I don't care, but I got the Bills getting it done because they have to. Absolutely have to.
I like that, but I won't be throwing any money on it because I don't bet against Tom Brady. That's got to be in the rule book of betting somewhere. But The next game I want to get into, an NFC North matchup, the Bears taking on the Packers.
Well, the Packers this week, obviously, intrigued by them. And we look at the Packers, obviously taking on a divisional opponent in the Bears. Justin Fields will play this week. And the Packers, listen, they're in Lambeau Field. They're going to win this game. I think we can all mutually agree. I think if Justin Fields comes out and defeats the Green Bay Packers, then I will sit up here and say I am wrong. But to my knowledge, I don't think that's happening. Aaron Rodgers dealing with that toe injury. I don't think that's going to slow him down a whole lot. I think, they lost their left tackle. One of Aaron's favorite guys. Obviously, the offensive line's hurting a little bit. But we'll see. I think the Packers get it done. If I had to give a prediction, I think they absolutely beat the brakes. I mean, Justin Fields is just coming back from injury, and you're going to Lambeau Field. It's a lot to ask of him. So the Packers win. I'll say this could easily be. I mean, the Bears could either drop a donut or 3 points. I mean, I'll say 24-3. I think they get absolutely obliterated.
Yeah, yep, I'm with you there. All right, you guys, we got to hit the break. Up next, we will talk about the Lions taking on the Broncos this Sunday. But first, before we go, Jeff, where do you get your hair done?
Yeah, Lady Jane's. Guys, let's be honest. We like football, and football season's upon us. And it's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play on the beautiful flat screens they have in the shop, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime because it is wicked awesome.
It's that time of the year again. Time for our second annual Stuff a Studio with Woodward Sports. Last year, Metro Detroit came together to help make the largest single toy donation in Mott Children's Hospital history. This year, we make it even bigger. Stuff a Studio is happening December 13th through the 17th at the Woodward Sports Studios in Birmingham. The children in Mott Children's Hospital fight so hard all year. Now it's up to all of us to help bring a smile to their faces. So while you're out holiday shopping, make sure you pick up an extra toy or two and help us spread some love to Metro Detroit this season. We look forward to seeing you December 13th through the 17th as we stuff our studio with Woodward Sports and Myre.
Woodward Sports Network, let's go! Ho, 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 ho!
Your Detroit alternative to the normal sports blah, blah, blah. It's Woodward Sports.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Morning Woodward Show. We've got to get into the Lions taking on the Denver Broncos this Sunday. 4 p.m. game. We're used to those 1 o'clock games, but then we've got a 4 now. The Lions could really struggle this week. Obviously, we just hit it. 22 players missed practice either Wednesday or Thursday of this week with a lot of flu-like symptoms roaming the locker room. So will the Lions win their second game in a row against the, 6-6 Broncos? We shall see. But the Broncos are currently the heavy favorite at minus 437. So, Jeff, your thoughts here?
Well, listen, I'm giving the Lions a punching chance, obviously, but I think the Broncos win this game. Just considering the fact that not only are the Lions missing an abundance of players, and they don't, I talked about this earlier, the margin of error for the Lions is very small. And you talk about missing players, disregard that. I mean, look at the Denver Broncos, their defense. And listen, I know the Lions have been playing great defensively, but my worry is, and Dan Campbell said this, he stated this, he's a fan of Teddy Bridgewater. The guy's a winner. I mean, say what you want about Teddy Bridgewater. They're 6-6 in a tough division. And the Denver Broncos, I mean, you can say what you want about them. They've had a lot of guys with injury. Now they got rid of Von Miller. Jerry Jeudy just came back. And they got a trio of receivers over there. I mean, they got Sutton, Jeudy, they got Tim Patrick. So they have dogs over there. So secondary is going to have their hands full, of course. And, they're going to have a run game to deal with. I think Melvin Gordon might come back. Javonte Williams had a great game last game, looking like a little baby DeAndre Swift out there. So they have weapons of their own in Denver. I'm not going to sit here and say we can beat Denver. There's a chance. But my concern is nothing about the players this week. I'm looking at the coaching staff, and that's what I'm evaluating from game to game, and that's really what I'm taking away from this season. How does Dan Campbell progress, not only as a play caller, but just a head coach in general? I mean, you saw last game, he made the mistake late in the game. Obviously, he was on our 20-yard line, whatever, on fourth down, and there's mistakes, obviously. I want to see how he builds off of it. I want to see how this team looks offensively. I don't have a doubt in my mind, Aaron Glenn, even if they struggle defensively, I mean, he's done a whole lot this year to really earn his case. It's really about looking at Dan as a coach. That's what I'm basing the rest of the year off of. I'm not going to sit here and criticize Jared Goff game to game. Of course, you're going to look at his performance, but it's the big picture. I mean, we know Jared Goff isn't the future of this team. You're stuck with Dan for 6 years. I want to know how he's progressing.
No, the hell you're not. Not 6. 2, 3, I'm okay with.
Let me rephrase myself. He has a 6-year contract. I don't know if he'll last the whole 6 years, but you have him for essentially 6. You're probably going to get rid of him if it doesn't work out earlier, but I want to see how he progresses as a head coach, and that's really the angle I'm taking on it.
Do you think he's been progressing?
That's tough because the first time what was the first time he called plays? It was against the Browns or the Pittsburgh Steelers when he tied. And then now, the only thing I'm looking to progress at him is the play calling, maybe, because they have Ben Johnson as the passing game coordinator now, the tight ends coach. The passing game looked great. But honestly, Adam, from a decision-making point of view, I don't think so a whole lot in terms of progressing. And that's what I want to see.
Because that's now 6 straight weeks that he's put the team in a really bad spot.
Yes. And that's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm looking at this week.
Against Denver, you're either lying to yourself or you just really are a hardcore fan and you just pick them every week to win. If you think they're going to go to Denver, and I'm not going to say they don't have a chance, but the expectation of we should be beating Denver in Denver, I don't think that's the case, especially the Sunday. Again, it's going to be an emotional stadium. You're going to have the Demaryius Thomas situation. There's going to be a lot going on. And I think the key to victory for Detroit is not just going to be how they play offensively. Actually, it's defensively. Can you limit Javonte Williams? Will Teddy Bridgewater stay in the pocket? Is he going to move out? If he does, are you going to be able to contain him? Mm-hmm. How's that going to affect your pass rush? You might miss 4 edge rushers this week, all pivotal to the team. So are you even going to have a pass rush? What's your defensive line going to look like? This is really tricky right now. And I hate to say this, but this could be an ugly game. It very well could be. And I'm looking at Dan Campbell and I'm going to think, all right, how are you going to put your team in the best position to succeed? And if he isn't doing that, that is not a sign of a good head coach. And for 5-6 straight weeks now, we've seen him not put the team in the best situation to win. And if you want to argue that, I can't help you because it's not something you can argue with. It's the truth. That doesn't mean you have to hate him. That doesn't mean you have to kill him or fire him. It's just the truth. That's just facts. Get it out of the way. So ideally in Denver, I'd like to see him put the team in a situation where they have the best opportunity, best odds to win the football game. And if he can do that, that's progress.
Definitely.
And if he somehow, some way in the first quarter goes for on 4th and 1 or 4th and 2 at his own 25 against Denver, and they don't hit, you're going to look yourself in the mirror again and say, why are we giving up this field position? May I remind all of you, there's one team in the NFL that is extremely aggressive at the level the Lions are at. It's the LA Chargers. Do I have to remind you who they have? Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Jared Cook. Oh, Justin Herbert. Oh, a top offensive line. Stop.
Yep.
Give the team a chance. Put them in the best position to succeed. That's your job as a head coach. You do that, I'm happy with you. When you make the right decisions on a consistent basis and you consistently give your team an opportunity to win, that is the sign of a good head coach. So,
definitely. I want to add this too, is him making those decisions when you're winless. You can argue for him, and I can argue for him. Listen, the guy you need a win. If you're going to go for it, go for it. Now you have a win. Now what happens if you start winning games? I want to see how he calls a game. I'm curious. I haven't seen him call a game yet with a win under his belt, so this is the first time he's doing it. And I want to see how if the aggression changes and just his approach. But again, I mean, we have a head coach that's learning how to be a play caller, so at the same time, you're taking it game by game, and we'll judge it. But yeah, I think you hit it right on the head. It's defensively what this team is, and the secondary is going to have a lot of pressure on them. I mean, you got a 3-headed monster essentially out there that you're going to have to guard. Jerry Jacobs playing out of his mind. A big fan of his game, and what a stud. This week, They have their hands full, the Lions. And to your point, if they come out and they win, 27-13, they win, whatever the score may be, I'm not going to be surprised. I mean, this Broncos team is respectable. They are. And Teddy Bridgewater is a respectable quarterback. Say what you want about him, but the guy gets the job done. So
that's the thing with Teddy. Teddy Bridgewater can beat any team, any quarterback in the NFL. He can also lose to any team, any quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, it weighs it out a little bit.
So if Teddy Bridgewater shows up on Sunday, goes for 250 yards, runs for another 40, efficient, no turnovers, it's going to be tough for me to pick against Denver. So quarterback play is going to be important on Sunday. Who will be healthy on the defensive line for the Detroit Lions? Who will be available? And are they going to be able to stop Javonte Williams? I think those are the three key matchups and three key storylines going into Sunday. And Denver's 6-6. They're trying to get a playoff spot. 7-5 is the final wild card spot right now in the AFC. You think they want to lose this game? Absolutely not.
No.
They want to have a chance. They don't want to be written off yet. So they're at home. Narrative matters. See what happens in Denver. Kennedy, what do you think is going to happen this game?
Well, I thought the Lions were going to die last week, so I don't know anything anymore. I feel like I've been saying this all season long. I feel like I know absolutely nothing about this team because you don't know which team's going to show up. But I feel like where we're at now, I can almost guarantee you it's not the team that's pulling crazy tricks out of their bag. That was a one reserved game for the Rams for some reason. So I think we're going to lose, but I don't think it's going to be that bad. I really don't think Denver is as good as they are in a lot of people's heads. So I think it'll be... Well, this is the other thing, too. Who's going to show up? TJ Hawkinson's got a hurt hand. He said that won't hold him out, but he's not going to be 100%. We don't have Swift. I don't know. There's a lot of things that could go wrong for us for sure. I understand why Denver is the favorite. And someone brought up a good point in the chat. They all have colds, and they're going to a high-altitude place. They're going to feel like absolute butthole. So, I don't know. I think the Lions put up 7 or 10 points, and the Broncos put up 23. That'll be my score prediction, 23-10 Broncos.
And the Lions haven't really shown us that they could score any more than 13 to 15 points. I mean, last week they did, of course, but that was an anomaly, and you could see it throughout the whole season. Week 1, you're coming back, you're trailing, they're playing off of they're playing soft coverage, you score some points. Last week, you're scoring a game-winning drive. Let's see what you can do this week offensively. That's what I'm looking for. So, I mean, we'll see, Adam. We're kind of on the same page.
If the Lions put up more than 20, they have a chance.
Definitely.
It's been the story all year, but I think that's really going to be the case. I see Denver putting up 24, 27. You're going to have to be in this game. You're going to have to be able to put up points. Can they force turnovers? That's going to be a pivotal part, and it always is. When you win the turnover battle, you have a good chance at winning the football game. So stick to the basics, stick to the fundamentals, and we'll see how it plays out.
And we got to address some people, because I know a lot of people talk about being hard on Dan Campbell, and this is, listen, and Mr. Thomas in the chat, to be hammering a first-year head coach after 12 games, really acting like this year was going to be a winner. I don't think anybody's acting like we none of us predicted a winner. And we said this team would suck. It's about what have you shown me in your losses, number one, and how are you progressing game to game? And that's what me and Adam were paid up here to do. We're here to judge you. And the Lions, they got their first win. Now can they progress? That's all we're saying, Thomas. So as a Lions fan, you guys should understand. I mean, this is what you're judging for.
I don't even know why you're talking. Thomas, shut the hell up. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. So just shut the hell up and stop wasting my time. Don't put words. 1, I don't like people putting words in my mouth. 2, stop insinuating at something that's not the case. And 3, shut the hell up. We got to go to break.
All right. We will go to break, which means we get to hear about our friends over at Gypsy Vodka. Adam, I think you need some.
All right, guys. Gypsy Vodka is gluten-free and corn distilled 6 times using artisan spring water. I may need to down a whole bottle after the show, considering the day I'm about to have. But having said that, support our local brothers from here in Michigan State alumni. Let's not forget. Try a bottle today, guys. Gypsy Vodka. Ask for it by the name of Gypsy, of course. And as always, please drink responsibly. I couldn't stress that enough. Again, please drink responsibly. It's Gypsy Vodka.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. With mortgage interest rates unbelievably low, the stakes to find your new home have never been higher. And that's why Hall Financial's exclusive realtor network allows us to connect you with a top-rated realtor in your area, making sure you take on the housing market and win. Hall Financial has earned over 4,000 five-star reviews because of our technology and our commitment to closing your loan fast. 866-CALL-HALL or chat with us online at callhallfirst.com.
Woodward Sports. Missed part of the show today? Watch again on YouTube or download the podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We are recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand.
Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10.5 months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
Hire a graduate
of Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Welcome back, everyone. We're going to get into a topic that we talked about yesterday, Adam and I did, but we wanted to get Jeff's take on it, and then we wanted to dig a little bit deeper. Here we go. The college football playoff expansion options, Jeff. Do you like it how it is? Do you want 6 teams, 12 teams? Some people were suggesting 10, and then 16 teams. What are your thoughts on this?
Honestly, well, number one, I'll answer the question by saying I don't like the current format. So anything to change it is what I want. And to add more teams, changing the model, clearly, it's the way players and overall media would look at these games. Considering a lot of these players, you talk about bowl games and players missing out for the draft, and now you're really, the conversation comes into play on the importance of these bowl games, and you add more teams, and I would love it. As a college football fan, yes, it generates more money to college football, but from a fan's perspective, it creates a more competitive bracket. And I would love, every year we could talk about Cincinnati, but if you have 12 teams getting in, it's not always about the Cincinnati conversation. You could talk about your Baylor's, it would have been this year, or your possible Notre Dame's, or your other guys in the conversation. So I love it. As a college football fan, I'm sick of the 4 teams. You want to expand it. I mean, I'm not even going to sit here and say, well, it's all for the money. Of course, everything is for the money. It makes sense financially, and from a college football fans' perspective, I think it creates exciting matchups. It allows teams to sneak into the playoffs, and after having a loss or 2 losses, whatever the case may be. And I think it just creates very exciting college football games. And I'm all for it. I think the matchups and now teams, you're going to have to, maybe there's some upsets in play. Other teams might have a chance to win a national championship. It's not the same SEC, Alabama. Now it was Clemson, and now you have Georgia in the conversation. I would love it.
See, Thomas, this is why, you can call in 313-552-6322. This is why I tell you shut the hell up. This is not a difference of opinion. You put words into someone else's mouth that just aren't true. And you say it in all caps as if you're some bold proclamation. You're saying something that nobody else caught in the chat. That's why you get told to shut the hell up. That's why. Because you don't even listen. Because if you listened, what you said, you wouldn't have even typed. Having said that, Jeff, what are you in favor for? 6, 8? Is it 12?
I'll do 8. I like 8. Anything.
So when
I
it's
like 8 too.
So when it's 8, I want to preface this.
Or 12.
What's the benefit of being a top 4 team? What's your reward? Because if you're Michigan, ranked number 2,
12 then. You get we get that at a bye week.
I like 6. 6, the top 2 seeds get a bye week, and then 3 plays 6, 4 plays 5. I like that. 12 seems like the number, but it's too much now, and there's teams that don't deserve to get in there. I think this year 4 was perfect. This year
worked out for some reason.
This year worked out exactly how it should have. Cincinnati ran their table, and if Oklahoma State would have won the Big 12 championship, that would have been a problem, because I think Cincinnati would have been pushed away. and people would have been really outraged. So this was the year 4 actually worked out. But if you move it to 6, you're allowing Ohio State and Notre Dame to get in. What have they accomplished? So that is my problem with the expansion. I'm for more football, man, believe me.
Mm-hmm.
But what are you doing with 5 and 6? So you're telling me we're adding 2 teams in that are non-conference champions? Instead of Baylor, who just won the Big 12? What about Utah? Now, again, it's not an automatic bid. I'm not saying they should automatically get in for winning their conference. But there's, resume difference. These teams each have 2 losses. One's a champion, one isn't. Where are we going with this? I am really curious. I don't think 6 is even a solution. Maybe it is 8. But then that's too much. And now you got to play an extra week. I like 4. It worked out this year. So I'm not going to jump head over heels in the offseason and say there needs to be change when this was actually the year 4 teams that should have been in, got in, and there was no debate about number 5.
Hey, I'll debate number 5 all day.
Yeah, because you're a Notre Dame fan, but realistically, nobody's sitting there saying they didn't get it right. That's why. So, Jeff, I'm curious, is it 6 with 2 seeds, 2 bye weeks? Is it 8 and everyone would say it's quarterfinal time? Quarters, semis, and then a final? You're playing basically 2 extra weeks.
Yeah.
Or you go to 12 and it's now 3, and then you're playing 15, 16 games now. 17 maybe.
Yeah, the 8's interesting. Obviously, the committee would love it in terms of financially, but 6 I think makes the most sense because, to your point, you're incentivizing the top seeds, and that's what you need to do in college football. At least you give them a bye week, and you have the other 4 teams square off, and the winners of the guys who get a bye week face the winner. I think that would be the most ideal for me as a college football fan. I mean, you get more football, so that's solved. Yeah, there's an incentive for the teams to still win their conference, and you get better matchups, in my opinion. I mean, if Ohio State had an opportunity to sneak in there, I think it would have been great for college football. Would have loved to see Ohio State, but the fact that they were shut out, only took the top 4 teams. Cincinnati gets in there. I would have loved to see personally Ohio State versus Alabama. I think that would have been great. So there's matchups, exciting matchups at 6, Adam, to your point.
I think 6 makes most sense.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree because there's a reward system. You don't want to diminish what it means to be a top 4 team in the current college football playoff.
Right.
So if you are going to expand it, I need some provisionals. I need something where you can tell me that you're going to get this right every single year, and they're not. It's impossible. Can we all agree? You can expand it to 64. The teams at 65 to 68 are going to be pissed off. You're never going to make everybody happy. So if you are going to expand, the 2 top seeds get a bye week. I don't mind that so much. But you have to keep in mind the day the SEC, Big Ten, all those title games are played on the weekend, that following weekend, you need to start the college football playoff.
Mm-hmm.
And then you give a 2-week break. And then you have the semifinal on New Year's Day. And then you have a break. And then you play the championship game the following Monday.
That's ideal, I think. Yeah.
I think that's how you do it, with 6, not 8.
Okay.
There needs to be a reward for winning your games in the regular season. Do not diminish the regular season. That is my biggest ask on the expansion. Don't you dare diminish the value of the game at the end of the year between Michigan and Ohio State. Don't you dare. Don't you dare let both teams walk in saying, hey, you know what? If it expands to 8 or 12, we can lose this game and still get in. We just got to play it close. Don't you dare ruin the regular season of college football. It is one of the greatest things we have going on.
Yeah.
Do not overexpand. I know there's more money on the table. I get it. I want more football. Don't get me wrong. But not this way. Do not diminish the regular season.
I like 6. You're talking me into 6 because it still does all the things that I like. It doesn't expand the season too long for the student athletes. So I don't think we'll see what we talked about yesterday, Adam. So many guys sitting out of these playoff games because it's not gonna totally expand their season. It'll still keep the bowl games that I love intact.
Protect the integrity of college football, please. That's
Yes.
all I ask. Do not make me watch Michigan, Ohio State. Do not make me watch Oklahoma State. Well, not anymore. They're moving on. But don't make me watch these big Power 5 conference matchups towards the end of the year and tell me that they hold no meaning. In an 8-12 team expansion, Michigan beating Ohio State technically would have been irrelevant because Ohio State likely would have gotten in. And Michigan, yes, Big Ten champions, but what's the reward for winning the Big Ten? Oh, they get to play the number 7 seed? Who's the number 7 seed right now? Oh, Big 12 champion Baylor.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations, Michigan. You get to play a Power 5 conference champion. Ohio State, your reward? You get to play Georgia. Oh, okay. That's kind of fair. 2 non-champions going up against each other, but still. How do you reward people? How do you keep the integrity of the game? And that, for me, most important over everything. How do you keep the integrity of college football? Don't you dare ruin the regular season. That is one of the greatest traditions right now in college football. Teams are going to be mad every year, whether you expand it to 6. If you expand it to 6 right now in the current rankings, Big 12 champion Baylor are out. Mm-hmm. You don't think they're going to be upset? Why is Ohio State and Notre Dame and Georgia in? We won the Big 12. What the hell did they do? You want to start that? That's what's going to happen. So you're never going to have a situation where a team doesn't feel left out. And the more you expand it, the more you're going to be debating what average teams in college football should be getting in. And I don't think that's fair either. I really don't. I think it diminishes the value of the regular season. And it diminishes the value of the playoff. The playoff is not an all-inclusive invite. You have to earn it by winning tough games in the regular season, having a difficult strength of schedule, winning the big games, winning on the road. That is how you get to a college football playoff. Not, let's just keep inviting people. The 10-3s, the 10-2s, the 9-3s. Let's let them all in. No. I went 11-1 and won the Big Ten. Why should you get in? Now, if you give me a bye week and you want to add 2 more teams, I'm for it. But just keep in mind, this year, Notre Dame and Ohio State would have gotten in over Baylor. Woo! What a joke. What a farce that would have been. It would have been. You're going to make the argument that a Big 12 champion shouldn't have gotten in over those teams who won nothing? Stop it. A lot of controversy. There's always going to be controversy with these things, but we got to head to break. When we get back, we'll do our mailbag. Yep. Everybody in the chat, get your questions ready. This is like one of my favorite times. We get to answer your questions, whether it's on the Lions, college football, whether it's about Thomas. I don't care who it's about. Be my guest. Ask questions. We're all for it. Kennedy, before we go to break, I got to tell people about the Carpet Guys before you tell them about what you need to say. Thinking of new flooring, everybody at home? All month long, the Carpet Guys are going to give you up to 60% off select flooring options. Carpet, hardwood, vinyl, and laminate, they do it all for the best installation and a guaranteed lifetime warranty. There's only one place to call. That's the Carpet Guys. Be wise. Call the Carpet Guys at 855-4MY-GUYS. Guys, that's 855-4MY-GUYS. Kennedy?
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin! Spin! Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
What's the over-under? Should I tease? Who is the lock of the night? Make sure you're watching Woodward Bets to get the latest in sports betting and more. Woodward Bets daily on Woodward Sports.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Morning Woodward Show. It is time for our mailbag segment. So if you haven't done it yet, make sure you drop a question for us in the chat. Let's take a look. Oh. D-Mac is fighting people for you, Adam.
Who do I start in fantasy football? Swift, Freeman, or Foreman?
This is interesting.
Isn't
Swift
hurt?
Swift
is hurt. I don't know if
Swift
he's
isn't an option.
So Foreman...
Is he out? Is he officially ruled out?
I have him, so I would assume he's out.
I don't... Look, it's between Foreman and Freeman. That's a tough one. Devontae Freeman probably has more end zone touches, but Foreman last time he played, I believe he went over 80 yards and a touchdown. So, look, I would go with Foreman on this one. I really would.
And they cut Peterson, so he's their guy. I mean,
he's going to be the lead cow back until Derrick Henry gets back. So I think that's a good start. Anytime you have a backup running back who gets to start, like a Madison, a Chuba Hubbard, you got to take advantage of those situations. They're so valuable in fantasy, especially this week, guys. This is make or break it in your leagues, most likely. This is the week you're going to figure out if you're going to the playoffs. Now, if you've clinched, you don't really have to worry. So I think that's where you can leave it.
And now we got, how do you guys like the progression of Cade Cunningham so far?
Oh, I'm in love with it. Yeah, I think he's already a star player.
Yeah.
And I think his potential is superstar. What do you think?
No, definitely. I mean, the guy has shown you, in NBA, this is why I love the NBA, you see things so early in guys. I mean, the guy's 18, 19 years old. You can already see he's going to be a superstar. And like hockey, Lucas Raymond of the world, you got your Mo Siders. That's exciting. And you have players like that you can root for. It makes it that much more exciting to watch the actual team. So, Cade, love it. Love the progression. I think he's going to be a superstar in a couple of years. Which quarterback do you want if the Lions draft one? This is an interesting. I feel like everyone always talks about this. And I think we mutually agree that we are not huge Malik fans. Even though, listen, there is guys around that like Malik. There's Willis, and there's guys that don't. I'm a Matt Corral guy. I like Kenny Pickett. He's going to go early, but I'm not the guy who's advocating for the Lions to draft a quarterback this year. I think they should go skill positions, defense. Jared Goff's here next year, and I think that's a position you can address in the future. So I'm not worried about it. I'm really not. I don't know about you, Adam. I mean, are you for Lions drafting a quarterback late? I mean, we talk about maybe taking one.
So is the question like which quarterback I want them to take if they take one?
Yes.
So if it's a project quarterback, you're going to get in the late 3rd, 4th, 5th round. There's Slavis, there's JT Daniels. There's going to be guys out there, but I'm not in love with any of them. Kenny Pickett will skyrocket. And do I want to take him number 1 overall if I'm the Lions? No. I got $30 million in the books with Jared Goff. So I don't really want them taking a quarterback. I want them either trading back and collecting a ton of draft capital to revamp this roster, or go edge rusher, go linebacker, wide receiver, 2nd round, 1st round. Figure it out. Get this roster closer to being really talented. And when you get closer to that, you can figure out the quarterback. Because once you figure out the quarterback, which is what I expect them to do, not this upcoming draft, but the following, you'll have something there. I think Goff can get you by next year. And honestly, what are your expectations for next year? Do you think they can win 10 games? If you don't, would you think you want to see improvement? So if they're going to pick 7th or 8th next year because they finished 6-11 or 5-12, whatever the case may be, Goff is gone after. So then you go out and you get your rookie quarterback and you have a good offensive line. You have a strong backfield. By then, ideally, you address the wide receiver positions. Amon-Ra St. Brown will now be a 3-year pro heading into that year. Hopefully, he's developed. TJ Hawkinson will start to be entering his prime. You're going to have a good defense manned by and headed by Aaron Glenn. There are good things to look forward to. I just don't think this is the year to go for a quarterback at the top 5, top 10 level. If they go and take a chance on Ritter in the late 1st round, early 2nd, I am going to support it as long as Brad Holmes comes out and says, we believe this is the guy. If Brad Holmes comes out and says, and I support any GM that does this, unless I totally disagree with the pick like I did with Daniel Jones. If they come out and say, look, this is the guy we believe in. We believe we got to steal. This is our guy. This is our ride or die. Great. You put your job on the line for him. I can judge you fairly by that. And if he's an absolute stud, great job. And if he isn't, that's the risk you took. Welcome to the NFL. You got to hit your picks. And if you don't, you're out of a job. And if you don't hit your picks, you have a bad football team. Welcome to the NFL. So, what else do we got in here? What are you laughing at?
The chat's so aggressive right now.
Why? What's going on?
Look, just take a gander.
I like this one. We keep tanking next year for Bryce Young. Yeah, I'm on board with that.
Oh, man. I mean, if Bryce Young is everything he is right now,
definitely.
Okay.
Everyone would be... They'd be standing at the door trying to get him.
Yeah. That would remind me of the Kyler Murray conversation kind of thing. Like, he comes into the draft. He is for sure going to go top 3 next year, if not number 1. So I'm excited. That's a guy I want. There's a lot of questions. I don't know if people are arguing in the chat, but it is what it is.
Travis wants to know, should he start Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes? Listen, Josh Allen. I'm so over having Patrick Mahomes in fantasy right now.
Matchup wise, it's Patrick Mahomes because of the facing the Raiders, of course. But yeah, it's gonna be they're probably gonna high scoring against the Buccaneers. I like Josh Allen in both games, but Patrick Mahomes is my guy. I'm starting him. Wait 3 years for JJ. That's always interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna wait 3 years.
Kennedy,
for JJ.
we need questions. Come on.
We got tweeted one at us that I like.
All right, what is it?
Pay attention. I think if you expand it to 6, they need to be conference. Otherwise, regular season would get ruined. I think unless you give 1 and 2 seeds buys, 3 and 4 play to get home field advantage against 5 and 6. What do you think?
What is it? I'm sorry.
For the college football playoffs.
Yeah. Rephrase it
She
again.
told you to listen.
I did. Stop.
Well, you obviously
If you give 1 and 2 buys,
Yes.
3 and 4 play to get home field advantage against 5 and 6.
I don't know what that means. Okay, so what is the question?
He just says, what do you think about that?
I don't know. 3 and 4 should get home field. But I don't think that's the case. I think it's going to be a neutral site. And I think it should be neutral site because you're playing a bowl game. I don't think that's fair. So if you're going to represent a bowl game, 3 versus 6, 4 versus 5, it needs to be done at a neutral site. Just like the college football semifinals always go into play. So, look, I don't think there's a perfect way to do it. I saw somebody bring up Joe Klatt's 12-team playoff that he put together. It makes sense. The Power 5 get in by winning their conference. Great. But what do you do when there's a 3-loss conference champion? What do you do at 13, 14, and 15, those teams feeling like they got slighted? You're never going to get away from this issue. I think that's kind of where I'm going with this. Whether you expand it to 6 or 12, be my guest.
Wasim wants to know, do the Patriots win a playoff game this year? I think yes.
Oh, yeah, they pull one off, man.
I think, yeah.
They're
At
so
least
well
one,
coached. They do all the little things right. And if weather is in their favor, you've seen how annoying they are to play against. If Damian Harris can get healthy and not have hamstring issues going late into the year, I really like the Patriots.
Nobody wants that team.
That is one of the most annoying teams to play against if you draw them in the wild card.
Yeah.
You win your division, congratulations. You have to play the Patriots. But it doesn't look like that because it looks like they're winning their division. So watch out for New England.
Definitely.
Yeah, I could see them winning a playoff game.
Tony Pasta says, is the NFL fixed?
No. Will the Tigers win a pennant?
Oh.
Tony Pasta, abso-effing-lutely. Tigers, I'm saying it from now. I think they really contend for the AL Central pennant this year. I really do. And it would not surprise me one damn bit if they pulled it off and they won it. It wouldn't surprise me one bit. I'm all for it. I'm all in on the Tigers this year. I'm all in. I really think they do it. They've got Baez right now. I still think they're going to go out and get one more arm. They're going to call up Torkelson and Green at some point in the year. I really like where this team is going. I think they could compete for the pennant. I really do. I love the bullpen. I think you're just missing one arm in the rotation.
I like it. All right, you guys, that wraps our mailbag segment. Now I get to tell you what you got to do this weekend, and that is visit us at O'Toole's in Royal Oak for the Woodward Sports Live pregame show for the Lions versus Broncos with our friends over at Jose Cuervo. It'll be from 2 to 4 with Braylon Edwards, Neil Rule, Adam, Jade from Riff, and more. And once again, it will be live on Woodward Sports and 101.1 The Riff. And then, of course, your party cannot end at the pregame. You got to go to the postgame, too, with Stick and Anson and Jim Beam. At the 2-minute warning of every single Lions game that is at the Brass Rail at Adams and Woodward. They start streaming live at the 2-minute warning of every single game with DJs, drinks, and a Woodward VIP section with food and more. So make sure you stop for every single Lions game at the Brass Rail in Detroit. All right, you guys have a wonderful weekend. Go Lions. We will see you back here on Monday.